Hello everyone and welcome. So if you are looking for a compact pickup truck that is capable, practical and stylish, but at the same time it behaves like an SUV, then stay tuned as we explore this 2025 Hyundai Santa Cruz. So this 2025 Santa Cruz is offered in three different trims: Preferred, XRT and the Ultimate. And the particular variant that I'm reviewing is the Hyundai Santa Cruz XRT variant, and it's for the first time that the XRT variant is introduced into this lineup of Santa Cruz, and it's also introduced in the newer generations of the other models of Hyundai too, namely the Tucson XRT. So if you want to click on the detailed review video of that, you can click on the pop-up banner out there and you can watch that detailed review of the Tucson XRT. But if you're going to be sticking around, then let's continue with the review. And on this XRT package, there are lots of different things that are changed. Mainly the exterior body is what has been changed to make it look a lot more off-road, rugged and capable in terms of tackling some light bit of off-roading stuff. So let's begin from the front. So you get this matte finished grille out here, black one in the front with the Hyundai badging also in matte black. I really like this front end of this Santa Cruz. It looks very mean and sort of muscular, and then there are these two sticking towing hooks outside, and then they are marked again in this sort of very orange color. Then at the bottom there is the dark chrome that sits along with the skid plate that goes underneath, and more normal plastic bumper on either side. I don't mind because it's to make it a lot more off-road friendly. So if you damage all of these bits, it's just much more easier to replace. Also, now the DRLs are sitting on the edge on both the sides, just like the Tucson. So the design is again very similar to the Tucson also, and these are the LED DRLs. And at the bottom you would notice the main headlight cluster, and on the edge you would find the turn signals, which are the LED turn signals, and the main headlight cluster is again the LED headlight cluster. There's also one of the cameras for the various active and the passive safety systems, and underneath this 2025 Santa Cruz sits a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. So on this XRT variant of the Santa Cruz, you get these 18-inch dual tone 5-spoke alloy wheels, which is again this exclusive to the XRT variant, this design of the wheels, and they sit on the all-terrain tires. And there are also these body claddings on the front with the normal plastic, and then there is also this pickup badge that's been designed on them too. At the bottom again normal skirtings, plastic ones, but they cover the entire door frame. On the sides more plastic panels in normal black plastic with the Santa Cruz badging on it too. Then even in the rear there is the cladding on the rear fenders with the same pickup badge on it, and then this 4 feet long bed in the back. And this 2025 Santa Cruz also comes with the multi-link independent rear suspension that gives it the dynamics and also the ride comfort of an SUV. And there are roof rails which are in matte black, so a lot of matte black plastic has been used all across on the car, and I wouldn't complain because it looks really nice. And even these door handles, they are the keyless entry doors, the front ones, and the door handles are again in matte black, and then more black surround around these windows, normal plastic here. And in the back there is also this tonneau cover that is provided. And when we come to these side mirrors, so the side mirrors are again covered in this matte black plastic. They are non-power foldable but power adjustable. They also have the blind spot warning as well as the blind spot view monitor. So it's got the 360-degree cameras, and one of the cameras is also in both the side mirrors. And the side mirrors, whenever you're turning, it shows you on your driver's display that side of the feed on that gauge. So it's just much more easier to look at it and make a turn or just have a look at the traffic, because then you don't have to move your head. But yes, that's also been provided because it also comes with the surround view monitor, which is like the 360-degree camera system. Then there is also the turn light given on the side mirrors, and all the models of the Santa Cruz come with the H-Track all-wheel drive system. Now in the rear there are these long swooping tail lights, which is a combination of halogen and LED, and the reverse lights and the fog lights are sitting at the bottom, again surrounded by these dark chrome, and again a very normal plastic bumper given in the back with the step on either side to get into the bed, and again step in the middle also that has the outline of a pickup truck. Again, easy to just get into the bed too. Then the XRT badging in black, this Hyundai badging in dark chrome where the handle is to open the tailgate. Then the Santa Cruz badge which is embossed on the tailgate. Then the H-Track and the 2.5T. H-Track is the all-wheel drive system and the 2.5T is the turbocharged engine. Now in terms of the rear view visibility, so it's slightly restricted because of the fact that the rear glass is very slim if you notice, and the rear end itself is quite raised up, so that reduces the visibility, especially if you're going downhill. Then yeah, that actually reduces the visibility quite a lot because you often just miss out the traffic in the back completely. The spare wheel sits underneath the bed, and again normal plastic bumper, then more dark chrome surrounds that are provided at the bottom, and there is also a window out here that is opened manually, so you have to latch and unlatch and then slide it and then yeah, open and close it. Now when we come to the pickup side of this Santa Cruz, Hyundai has loaded this Santa Cruz with a lot of useful features for using it as a pickup. So the first thing is to open the tailgate. You have to press the button and then it's dampened, so it's not going to fall off suddenly, which is one good thing. And then is the tonneau cover. So in order to open this, so on top of this cover there is like a lever provided, so there's latch and slide option, so you press it and then let it fold away for you, which is again one more convenience feature. Really like this. And again, if you want to close it, then you just pull this strap and then look at this. The ease of use is what I really like. Now you can put a lot of stuff that way, even though this is just a 4 feet long pickup bed, but still quite a useful one. And then there are tying points also in the back, and then there are more storages provided on either side, the locked one. So on the left side there is like a covered storage, so you can lock that, and on the right side there is a plug point which is 115 volt rated, so that also when you open this door and then use that plug point too. There is also another storage underneath this bed floor, so there is an open button, you press that and look at this, it opens up. And then there are lights provided on either side also, and lights provided on the top too, and these lights can be switched on the inside, or there is a button provided on the left side, so you press that and switch on these lights, or when you open this cover these lights automatically would switch on. And this is like a cooled box that's been provided, so you can do a lot of camping and then make sure that your drinks are cold on the inside. And then again that's also dampened, so it's not going to be like, you know, suddenly falling or opening, so you don't have to hold it also when you open it, which is a good thing. Now in order to close this cover, so as I said, you pull this, but the only thing is that there's no lock to this cover, so anyone can just open it anytime. So yeah, you have to be just careful about that, but yeah, you can just latch it and then close this. Now in terms of the trailering capabilities, this Santa Cruz with its 2.5 liter turbocharged engine can haul 5,000 pounds. So step inside the new Santa Cruz and it feels very identical to the new Tucson, and I wouldn't complain because I really like the way the new Tucson has been designed on the inside. Is very clean and very easy to use, and so is this Santa Cruz. And the fact that Hyundai has worked on the feedback from their customers and have inculcated all those design changes is actually commendable, because now it makes this whole car very easy to, you know, operate. And it's just that when you look in the back, that's when you realize that it's a pickup with the bed in the back, but otherwise in the front it feels exactly like an SUV. Now in terms of the material quality, so on the dashboard top surface there is soft touch material, although slightly on the firmer side, and then on the door cards there is again soft touch materials. On the side face there is fabric material in between, and then again softer material continues where you're going to be resting hands. That's leatherette covered with piano black plastic around the switches. At the bottom there is this normal plastic. Out here on the center tunnel there is, on the side of it there is normal plastic, and then where you're going to be resting hands, that's again leatherette covered, and then out here there is this cutout provided on the dashboard, so you can store things and stuff. More on that too, but again, that's also mildly soft material, although it's still slightly on the firmer side. And then normal plastic on this glove box, and then leatherette covered steering wheel, and then these 4 dots, which is the Morse code for the letter H, that's been incorporated on this steering wheel. But overall, yes, good use of material, and yeah, it's more rugged and ready to use for everyday wear and tear and abuse, so it's gonna last you for longer time. And then more piano black plastic around this center console also. Now when we come to the driver's display, so there is a 12.3-inch digital driver's display provided, and it's smooth and it's clear and it's crisp, like it's really sharp looking graphics on this, and even when the light is directly falling on it, it's still very sharp and easy to read any sort of information on it. And the information that you see in the middle can be changed, as well as the gauges and the design, they all can be changed from inside this infotainment screen. So that in order to change the theme of the cluster, then you go into the setup and then the cluster and then the cluster theme selection. So there is the simple version where there is only digital speed shown on the left side and the RPM counter on the right, then the modern, a little bit modernized gauges, and then the classic ones, which shows you the dials just how you would in like an analog fashion. Then the graphic style, which is linked to drive mode, or style A, style B, which is in green, and style C is more red, or if you link it to drive mode, so it would change accordingly as per the driving mode. And that's how you change the design of the digital driver's display. And in the middle there is information, and that can be changed using the buttons provided on the left side of the steering wheel. So you press that and you can go into the different menu options, or a scroller dial that's been provided. So the first option is the driver assistant, so you long press it and then you can see those options on your infotainment screen: the driver assistance, driving convenience, safety, speed, parking, and all of that. And then the next option is the trip information, so current trip, what's the numbers since refueling, and then last reset, and then the tire pressure and the power distribution. That's about it. That's how easy it is to use this driver's display, and I like it. It's not too much of a fuss, it's not very complicated to operate also. Now when we come to this steering wheel, so this is a leatherette cover steering wheel, and it's manually operated, tilt and telescopic, adjustable. So yeah, you can adjust that and lock it in place. There are paddle shifters provided in the back, and the new Santa Cruz comes with a 2.5-liter turbocharged engine that is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. So yeah, you can use these paddle shifters for that, and then buttons provided on either side with the badging in the middle. So on the right side there are buttons provided for the mode and the star, and also to change the media information. And the mode and the star button that you see, and also there is one more star button provided underneath the infotainment screen, those all can be changed from inside this infotainment screen. So again, you go into the settings, and then there is the buttons option, so you go into that, and then you have the custom star button, another one, the mode button, and the up and down button on the steering wheel. So all of those can be customized from inside this infotainment screen. And on the left side there are buttons provided for the adaptive cruise control, as well as buttons for the driver's display. And the steering wheel itself is quite slim, and it's a round steering wheel. Now when we come to the air conditioning controls, the air conditioning controls are mounted underneath the infotainment screen, and they are button operated, straightforward, no screens or anything split or anything like that, straightforward. And also dials provided for them to be operated, like the temperature and everything. So you get a dual zone air conditioning system on this new Santa Cruz, and in order to start, then you just turn this dial on either side and switch it on, and dials provided on either side to change the temperature or sync it with the driver side, and in the middle to change the fan speed. And these are like the touch buttons, so yes, that's just the only thing you have to learn, but still there are buttons for everything and right in front of you, so it's easier to operate that. And there's also a button provided for the heated steering wheel, and they have a little bit of graphics around these buttons also. So when you switch them on, there is a bit of graphics put on to them, so you can have a look at it. And it's like a two-stage heated steering wheel button also that's given, and on either side there are buttons provided for the heated seats. So the driver and the passenger side seats are the heated seats. But yes, that's it. That's how you operate the air conditioning control. Now when we come to this infotainment screen, this is a 12.3-inch infotainment system on this Santa Cruz, and the driver's display as well as the infotainment screen are connected together in this seamless fashion. Just like in between the two screens there is this black patch, but otherwise yes, it's a through and through panel that's provided, and it's a curved one. And on the left side there is this fabric material provided. At first I thought like what it is that for, but it's like a speaker, so it blares out any warnings or chimes or anything, so that speaker is used for that. Now when we come to this infotainment screen, it's light and it's decent, and yeah, it's simple to operate also. You can long press these widgets and then arrange any of these on the screen itself. So the first option is the media, whatever is going on, like FM, AM, or any media, or Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Then phone projection. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect this infotainment system using Bluetooth, USB, and Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is offered wireless. And then the valet mode, the vehicle diagnostics, then the service maintenance. For all that you need a BlueLink account, notifications, online manual, and then the detailed setup. So you go into the vehicle and then the driver assistance, that you can even go from the driver's display also. And then the same sort of menu options are even on the main vehicle options too. So yeah, the driver assistance, then all the different features, then the drive mode. So there are like tow modes inside, so lightweight, medium, or the heavy, so you can let the car know what you've connected to it. And then the climate options, then the light options. So there are also ambient lights provided in the dashboard out here where this cutout is, and even in the door cards where there is like the bottle holder. So there are all places there are ambient lights provided, and you go inside, you can adjust the brightness, or you can link it to drive mode, or you can set the colors also. And then more color options are on the inside, custom options provided. Then the doors, then the digital key. So this thing can be also customized with a digital key that can be set up on the smartphone itself, as well as you can use the NFC card key to pay for different things. So yeah, that's the Hyundai Pay option that's provided. Then the convenience, and then we go back and the same sort of options here. Then the sound settings, different positions, tone guide, radio noise, driver assistant, connected devices and everything. Then the device connections, user profile, screen layout inside where you will find the custom theme selection, one more place, screen saver, split screen. So split screen is also possible on this main driver's display. Then the display options button, the cluster, BlueLink, and the general settings where there is the software system, because this thing also comes with the over-the-air updates, and it's also got the data connection package. And then the date and time, language, keyboard, units, media, and the reset. And you can slide down from the top for quick options like display on off, brightness, and the quiet mode. But that's about it. That's how you operate this infotainment screen, which is fairly easy, and it comes nearly identical on the newer models of every Hyundai, so it's just easier to get familiar with also. Now when we come to the charging, so there are two USB Type-C ports. One is a fast one and one is the normal one, but the other USB port that can be switched from charging to the actual connecting port, so you can utilize in both ways. And there is also a 12 volt 180 watt power socket, as well as one wireless charger which has these lights that indicate when the phone is charging. From green to white they turn when it's fully charged, or you can customize that from inside the infotainment screen to show you from orange to white. So a lot of things. And For the rear passengers, there are two more Type-C USB ports provided. Now on this Santa Cruz, there are these extendable sun visors. There is also an SOS emergency button and also the assistance button. So you press that and then help can be sent your way. There is also a normal sunroof that's been provided. Now there are also more buttons that are provided underneath the infotainment screen to operate this infotainment screen. So there is also a volume dial and a selector dial on the other side, as well as shortcut buttons that are provided at the bottom for quick access to this infotainment screen. Now there are also buttons provided in the back side of this gear shifter, and if you notice, this gear shifter is like a proper stick here instead of what was provided on the new Tucson, which is like a stock that comes out from the steering column. So I like this setup because this is much more convenient and it's just familiar to operate. Also straightforward R, neutral drive and manual mode, and again into park. And behind that there are buttons for the drive and the terrain mode. So there are three different driving modes, and then this switch is provided to switch to different modes. So normal, sport and smart, as well as three different terrain modes: snow, mud and sand. So you can select any of those modes for the whatever conditions there are. There are also buttons for the hill descent control as well as the button for the camera. So you press that button and you can get access to the brilliant and crisp and clear 360-degree camera system. Hyundai has nailed in terms of the camera systems because they are so clear and so many views that you can select from the front, top view, side view, then the full screen view, then the rear goes the same. And the best part is that all of these cameras operate so well even in the dark. And then there is this 3D mode, like you can see the car in 3D, a bit heavily loaded, so sometimes can be a bit choppy, but I wouldn't complain. Then there is the settings, and then we come out onto the main infotainment screen. Now when we come to the storage, so in the door cards you can put about 1.5 liter worth of water and some more storage on the sides. Then there is this wireless charger that can be utilized and more storage provided on the side. Then two flexible cup holders, this center armrest which can hold your phones and wallets and everything. There's also a small bin provided, removable one. This glove box, decently big. This cutout on the top where you can put your phones or wallets, so when the phones are charging you can put them there too. And in the rear door cards there are cup holders provided on either side, as well as there is a center armrest in which there are two more cup holders. Now on the left side of the steering there are more buttons provided to switch on the bed lights, as well as the traction control button on and off, and a tow button, so you can switch on this directly. So the tow mode can be switched directly from here by switching it on and off. Now when we come to the seats, so these are the black color leatherette seats. They are perforated seats, but they are just the heated seats, not the cool seats. They have the XRT badging in the back, and these seats are very comfortable, and something that I didn't expect from Hyundai, because generally I feel like the Hyundai seats were so firm most of the times, but on this, especially these headrests, yeah, they are so soft. Like, yeah, you want to just rest your head against them all day, when you're sat in these seats. And the seats are also quite broad, so they offer good amount of support also, just that it misses out a little bit of lower lumbar support, and which is because the lumbar adjustment is not vertical but it's just horizontal in one fixed position, so it misses out that little bit of the lower end of the lumbar adjustment. But these seats are quite broad, so they are not the sporty kind of seats, but they will hold you very well inside them, as well as they offer good amount of support underneath my thigh also, and you sit quite high up into these seats, so you get good visibility all across. And there is good amount of support in the backrest in terms of side support, as well as even on the seats at the bottom. That's also got good amount of support too. Now in terms of the adjustment, so the driver side seat is 8-way electronically adjustable and 2-way lumbar adjustment, and the passenger side seat is just manually adjustable. Now this is a compact pickup truck, so in terms of the space arrangement in the rear, it's going to be slightly on the tighter side. So in terms of the knee room, there's about 3 fingers worth of it, and the headroom, that's also quite decent. There's a cutout provided on the roof, so that increases the headroom also, and I'm sitting quite low down into these seats. That's how they've increased the headroom also, and the seats are more like bench type of seats, the bottom side of it, but the backrest is more reclined, so that gives you a better seating angle. But if you look at the angle that my legs are making, it misses out the under thigh support as a result of these seats being low down and also a little flatter and not at an angle. And you can slide your legs under the seat slightly. There is a bit of room for that too. And the driver side seat is also curved. The passenger and the driver side seat both are curved, so that gives extra bit of that knee room also. And in terms of the seats in the rear, they are again the same level of comfort they will offer you, the ones that are giving you in the front. So it is soft, and the backrest especially, that is giving you a whole lot of support in the back. But 3 people are going to be a tight fit in the rear, because that way it's quite narrow in the rear. Now there are also 3 headrests provided, which means there is a space for the middle passenger also. There is a bit of a tunnel here, but not too much to hinder the middle passenger. So if I come in the middle and sit here, so yeah, the middle seat is slightly on the firmer side, as well as the backrest also, which is firm, because there are like 2 cup holders as well as a handrest that's been provided. But the cup holders are not that deep, they are quite shallow, so yeah, the drinks might come out of that if you're going off-roading and stuff on this Santa Cruz. There are also 2 Type-C USB ports as well as air conditioning vents provided in the rear in this center console. So in terms of the door card quality, like there's like normal plastic on the top face. On the side face there's like a fabric strip, and then more normal plastic near this cup holder, glossy black plastic around the switches, and no dedicated storage at the bottom, but instead just 1 cup holder on either side, and then 2 more cup holders in the handrest. But there is more storage that you can utilize, because if you open this door, and there are straps provided on the bottom side of these seats, so they are foldable in a ratio of 60:40. So you fold both of these seats, and there's more storage that's been provided on the underside of the seats, so even that's been utilized to put more storage. And not just that, you can fold up these seats and you can load taller objects into the rear also. But that way this Santa Cruz is very purposeful, because it can carry passengers as well as cargo in the rear. So this 2025 Hyundai Santa Cruz is powered by a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. And this engine is mated to an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission that sends the power to all the 4 wheels via an all-wheel drive system, the H-Track all-wheel drive system. Now in terms of the power unit, this is ample, because the previous generation was offered with a standard 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, produced around 191 horsepower, but this is just a very capable engine and ample for this size of the pickup truck, because it's got the response when you need it. It just takes like 2000 rpm to cross to give you that turbo boost, but when it does that, it's just simply refined power. And that's what I said, this when you drive this thing, it does not feel like a pickup at all in the front. Absolutely not, because it's just a very great handling and a driving pickup truck that way. And the gear shifts are also smooth, they are crisp, 8-speed, and you can take a manual control. Also, I can put this thing into the sport mode, and it just increases the shift level, so it would shift at higher RPM, and you can even take manual control of that. It takes around half a second to change the gears, but yes, it becomes a very smooth powerhouse even in the sport mode, because it's always ready with the power, because it's usually sticking around that 2000 rpm. But yes, overall I'm pretty happy with this power unit, because it's quite apt for this pickup truck. Now when we come to the fuel economy, so long term on the highways, I've been doing around 7.3 to 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is absolutely impressive. Whereas within the city, it tends to be around 13 to 13.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is obvious, but fairly heavy traffic. Otherwise, it would be averaging somewhere around 11 to 11.5 liters overall with the mix setup of driving, which is again pretty good for a pickup truck. Now, when we come to the suspension, so there are independent multi-link suspensions provided in the rear, and as a result of that, the car feels very comfortable, and the dynamics especially, they are very much like an SUV, because it's the traditional pickup trucks would come with leaf spring setup, which makes it slightly on the stiffer side, but this is very articulating that way, the suspension, so they are always ready with the bumps, and there's also a good amount of travel to them also. Sometimes if you go through some multiple heavier bumps, then yeah, it struggles slightly. That time you might feel a jolt here and there, but overall it just suppresses all the potholes and all the bumps on the road surfaces very well. In terms of the all-wheel drive system, now it's an all-wheel drive system. It's not going to be like a 4x4, so expect it to be mild rock crawler in that sense, and not to be like a heavier sort of thing. But essentially this thing is more useful to haul things, because this 2.5 liter turbocharged engine can haul 5,000 pounds, which is going to be a lot more useful for daily uses, and especially in an urban setup. It's, let's be honest, that's where you're going to be using this pickup truck most of the time. So you can put your dirt bikes in the back, load them that, or you can put a lot of stuff, heavier stuff, in that 4-feet bed, and then utilize basically the pickup duties for this. Now, when we come to the steering, it's an electronic steering, but even if I put it in the sport mode, it improves the response slightly. But yes, it still feels like a big heavy kind of SUV sort of setup, not entirely like a numb setup, but decent feedback, although it can be improved slightly. It can feel a bit light sometimes, and it's got a good turning circle, so like it's got a small one, even though this is like a pickup truck, but for a compact pickup truck, it's very small in that sense. Now the thing is that because the pickup bed is not loaded, so there is a bit of torsional fluidity in the chassis, so that's why it keeps flopping a little bit, and you can feel it also when you are driving and it goes through these bumps, the heavier ones, and that's when you feel the bed sort of flopping. But yes, if you load this thing up, then it would change its dynamics also, and it would be much more grounded from the rear end. Now when we come to the brakes, so there are 4-disc brakes provided on this Santa Cruz, and in terms of the performance, the braking action is pretty good, although the pedal is a bit spongy, is what I've realized, and especially when you start braking, it responds, and then it's just that over the end of it, it becomes a little spongy. Yeah, that's the thing. And when we come to the noise and the vibrations, there's a bit of tire noise, and there's a bit of wind whooshing also, and there's a little bit of noise from under the floor also, so that's the only thing. And the engine now sounds a lot more pleasant for some reason, even though it's a 2.5 liter turbocharged engine. But yeah, it sounds decent, and I wouldn't complain that it sounds rough or anything. And when we come to the safety system, so this Santa Cruz has 8 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger. There are also 2 side airbags for the rear passengers, and there are also 2 airbags in the frames, in the pillars, and there is also child isofix points in both the rear seats, and a brilliant 360-degree camera system, which Hyundai calls it as the surround view monitor, that can also be operated as a blind spot view monitor. And the output is just amazing. The quality of it is just, especially at night in darker places, it's just so bright and crisp, and that's how it should be these days. We have like modern cameras and screens, and that's how you utilize, and Hyundai has done a very good job with that. Multiple ability to select views, So yeah, overall super impressed by the camera quality. Then there is blind spot warning, the rear seat reminder if you forget anything, then the front and the rear collision warnings, pedestrian warnings, EBD, ABS, tire pressure monitoring system, 5-star safety ratings, you name it. And yeah, this Santa Cruz is loaded with that. Now when we come to the pricing, so the base variant, which is the preferred, starts from $44,700, whereas this XRT variant comes in at 49,700 Canadian dollars approximately, and the top of the line, which is the ultimate variant, comes in at 53,000 Canadian dollars, and that one also got the 20-inch wheels, and it's got a lot more other features included. And if you ask me, I feel the XRT variant is the perfect one because it has the looks, the rugged looks, which I like, and it's got this matte finish on the outside, black matte finish, which I personally like it. There are those towing hooks that stick out, which makes it look a lot more rugged and off-road friendly. But yes, in terms of the appearance, that's the one to go for. But on the inside, it's going to be identical if you pick up any variant. Just a few features here and there that will be slightly cut, but otherwise it is going to be identical in terms of what you get on the inside. And that's the thing about this, like, it's slightly on the pricey side, I get it, but if you think of it, it's a stylish pickup truck, and it's purposeful, and it's feature rich, and it's easy to use also, and it's got the space as well as it's got the the capability to be functioning as a daily driver that can haul things which, let's be honest, you're going to be using most of the times, and it will do that because it's super capable that way. And yeah, it's very urban friendly to drive also, is what I've realized after driving it for like good 5 days now, and you just don't feel that it's that big of a size, even though it's a small pickup truck, but still you don't feel the size of it. And that's one strong point about this, and should definitely try this and see it for yourself, test drive it for yourself to be able to understand why it's such a strong option in this segment. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to press the thumbs up button, and make sure to subscribe to this channel by clicking that red subscription button, and press the bell icon and leave all the notifications on. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care, and drive safe.